people involved in the Blake Lively case sleep at night? People are asking, particularly towards individuals like the Liz Planks, Claire, Isabella, to have gone out of their way to betray a good man who was good to each of them at a time once, and to support someone's false allegations that could ruin his life, is ruining his career, and for what? Perhaps opportunity as a result. On a walk, and all this talk of, I think, social survival and the idea of a perceived threat got me thinking a little bit. This little rant isn't in any way like to seek to justify their behaviour, it's just speculating about the possible reasons that could occur. I do really like a humanistic approach to psychology, which is this belief that most people are good. If people aren't good or behaving in a way that are good, it is because of things they've been taught in their life, it's because of challenges, or maybe we're missing part of their story. That sound a little bit light and fluffy and even devalue the impact and damage that particularly people like Blake and Ryan have done in this case. The intention isn't to do that through this view. It's something we'll have to do in a clinical setting a lot. If someone comes in and say they're a serial assaulter, our job still isn't to judge. And so through applying that lens, we're trying to remove that judgment and go, okay, well, if most people are born, with good intentions, what happened to lead them to this decision-making and behaviour where they think this is okay or they're willing to engage in that? These individuals went out of their way to do this, to contact Blake and Ryan and get involved? Was it that Blake and Ryan were really good at sort of targeting those or identifying those that had just loose morals and would risk and sacrifice what they are in order, quite publicly as well? Individuals be surviving somehow? Could they be responding to a perceived threat or even a direct one? If that was the case, I still would not agree with their behaviour or what we can see at this stage, and it is hard to justify with like the Liz Planks, where we've seen tangible opportunities that are related to Blake and Ryan after the result of her willingly working or participating in this smear against Justin with Blake. Know what's happening behind the scenes entirely. Well, we definitely don't. In fact, look, I'm very cynical, especially with things like Hollywood or like governments. I imagine, what's happening behind the scene is like The Boys episode or something. Means of nothing would surprise me. But there are some things we do know, allegedly, about threats. Arguably the most powerful woman in the world, their most powerful ally, their friend, the godmother, if they were willing to extort her, what would they do to smaller, less influential people? Have to lose, or how easily they think it could be lost, justify this behaviour in their mind. Quote T.S. herself, we all have skeletons in the closet. So if someone indirectly involved is seeing Justin, a good man, lose a lot, lose everything at the hands of dishonesty, weaponizing almost nothing to turn it against him, like what is engagement video from years, and there being articles blasted about that on the internet, humiliation, hundreds of comments, questioning his character. Would a smaller, less influential person look at that and be quite fearful indirectly? And if there's anything real that could be used against you, or perhaps has been posed to be used against you, if there was any text between Isabella that made her look bad in a moment, or made her character seem contradictory, if there was any text with Jenny, any of these people, we've seen how Blake, throughout this whole court case, leads with dishonesty. She will take authorship over a benign comment that you've made, throw it into the spotlight, and defame your character, try and twist it through that. It's bearing witness to all of this play out publicly would probably be enough for certain people who do have a lot to lose, have families to feed, to do the Homer Simpson backing into the hedges. I'd say too, there was some evidence that Justin has told people close to him not to speak out on his behalf, which is really just reflective of so much behaviour we've seen from him. Sacrificial, prioritising the needs of others before his own. It's not any master manipulation. That does not benefit him. People staying quiet who know his history. He's doing that to protect them. Protect them also from what? I hope it's just Justin trying to protect against public backlash and nothing more sinister. Although this, especially with this, is very, very unsettling, especially in terms of pattern behaviour. Speaking of, we do know that Ryan and Blake in the past have tried to use or sort of extort through statements. We saw what they did to the Wayfair parties in terms of what they asked them to put out on their behalf. Now, I think at the start, they wouldn't have needed to take any route like this with, say, Blake's friends and other people in the cast who were willing to support. There would have been really good motivation because all of us, well, a lot of us believed Blake when we heard her side of the story. They would have thought, firstly, they're supporting a good cause, good values, and then they're also aligning with power and influence, which might be opportunistic for them in the future. More evidence came out. Public opinion clearly wasn't having it. We didn't see this continue. We've seen people either mostly neutralise or say very little. We also see very clearly that even though Blake and Ryan really care about their sort of perceived status, they will do what they need to get there. They don't mind stepping on a little guy. They don't mind subpoenaing over 100 content creators to get a headline that might result in them winning here. So being a smaller person of influence around them could in itself be quite threatening. It could be scary. It could be the reason these people justify either going, hey, not my monkey, it's not my circus. Hey, I'm going to stay quiet now. Maybe in the future I can speak about it. It looks like Justin might be successful, and then I will, just to protect myself. or if there was a direct threat, and I don't necessarily mean to, like a house burning down, but say even just global humiliation. Hey, we'll release this information on you, there's public interest in the case, everyone will be talking about it, your career's over. That in itself would justify people sleeping at night thinking that they're doing what they need to survive. This isn't me suggesting that hypothetically if Claire went out of her way to go to Blake that is justifiable. I just think it's always good to look at what we do know and what we don't know at this stage and consider that if this behaviour wasn't guided by, opportunistic, very low moral individuals, it could also be guided by a perceived threat or real threat, and if it was, we wouldn't know. Maybe a bit of both. As always, I'm looking forward to more evidence, and who knows, it might make me go, no, shut this all down.